Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Heavy's World, and today we're going into a bit of heavy gaming. Actually, it's sort of a hybrid of heavy gaming and heavy wrestling because it's a wrestling game that we're covering. I've got my colleague here, Peanut, all the way over in the UK. Say g'day, everyone.
Hello, Heavies. I'm Peanut, and I'm your quizmaster and reporter. And today we are reviewing AEW Fight Forever in a special series called Should Hev Buy. Should Hev spend his hard-earned birthday cash on this game?
That's the question of the day. So, as most of any wrestling fan is going to know, and some gaming fans, All Elite Wrestling have brought out their alternative AEW Fight Forever in the last week or two, and it's getting some very polarizing reviews, I'm finding. So I know my man Peanut over there has a copy of the game. He was up really late on the launch to
I,
make sure he
I've
got it
been
right.
playing. I've been playing this game pretty much all day, every day until it came out. It's come out. Came out
Yeah,
like for us, it came out on like Tuesday because we had the Elite Edition,
yeah,
so we got a day early.
yeah. So in my opinion, in Heavy's world, he's our expert on this at the moment. So let's get
For
into it.
better or
And
worse.
well, no, for better, in my opinion, because I have not had a chance to buy it, and that's why we're going through this today. So first of all, we're going to talk about, give a bit of an intro. Like we said, AEW Fight Forever is the alternative. Well, just like AEW is the WWE, it's the alternative. So the game is going to be an alternative to the 2K series. And they really wanted more of an arcade focus and go back to the good old days of the Nintendo 64 and No Mercy. So, yeah. So first up, I'm going to go with what I want to know about is game mechanics, like the controls and stuff like that. How do they feel?
Okay, it plays exactly like the old N64 games, which is good because if you loved those old N64 titles like No Mercy and all the rest of them, then it's absolutely fine. But you are limited. I feel like after playing WWE 2K23 for as long as I was playing it, 'cause I've been playing that for a couple of months as well. Like the grapple system and everything else, it feels very basic. It's like a back to basics wrestling game. It's got pick up and play capabilities, but you can just button mash your way through it if you really want to. It's not a hard game.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I've been getting and stuff like that. Like I've seen a lot of stuff around creative wrestler and like just say move set and whatnot, and it really does seem like a more simplified version of what we
Yeah,
get at the moment. 2K23, if you don't download a wrestler from creations, you can spend hours and hours and hours going through every move and
yeah.
putting it where it needs to go.
The
Whereas,
creation suite is not. It's just not what we would expect in a game today. Like you've got maybe 30 or 40 different options. Like it's
mm,
it's not the creator wrestler suites that we're accustomed to.
yeah, yeah, but I'm glad it does have some sort of pick up and play to it. Like I never played No Mercy in WrestleMania 2000 because I had a PlayStation
Okay.
and I was a Sega guy up until then anyway.
Okay, so for
um,
you, this will feel a lot like maybe SmackDown 1.
okay, yep, okay, that's not too bad, but
I think
now I get a
I
bit
think
of
it's an upgrade from Attitude, but it's not SmackDown 2. It's somewhere in the middle, like SmackDown 1. I would
yeah,
say to a PlayStation gamer.
and that was a I won't say bare bones because it did have some depth to it, but pick up and play was a lot easier. It was like left this button, right that button. So
Yeah.
I'm glad in that aspect because I've played the WWE series since SmackDown 1 all the way up to 2K23. So as long as I can get in there and just off the bat straight away, get into any of the game modes, and I'll be happy basically.
Probably address the elephant in the room as well, the graphics. There's been a
That's what
lot
I
of
was just
talk.
about to come to.
There's been a lot of talk about the graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want cutting edge graphics that are the
Mm-hmm.
if you want cutting edge graphics that are the best in the world, go and play 2K23 because 2K23 it's graphically much more beautiful, flows better, plays better. But AEW has gone for the retro vibe. So it looks, plays, and feels almost exactly like No Mercy. If that's what they set out to do, they have succeeded. But
Mhm.
yeah, compared to the graphics of today in 2023, it doesn't hold up. Compared to the
Yeah,
graphics 2099, it's spot on.
yeah. Like what we were just briefly touching on before, the biggest thing that was when I first saw trailers and it got better with more footage that came out was the way the wrestlers looked. They looked very cartoony, comic booky, sort of like, like smaller guys like, Chris Jericho with big forearms makes him look like Captain America or something like that. Like it was a little off-putting, and there were a few screenshots and videos that I saw around graphics that were a little troubling, and we've talked about that extensively in our chat. But the more I've seen, the more I've liked. But I get what you mean. It seems like all round, it's a lot more simplified, and that's including the graphics and the look as well.
Yeah, but I feel like that's its charm, you know?
Yeah,
Like everybody's going to panic for the graphics, and that's fine. But there is a charm to the way that the graphics have been set that does have a retro feel to it. And if you're a nostalgia retro gamer like myself, you will fall in love with this game.
yeah. And another thing I've noticed around like gameplay and that like you go back and you're saying around this is a game that like No Mercy in the old games. It even has that same looking game when you're in the game, you're looking up the ramp
Yeah.
at the stage when you're in a match and everything. That was even in the first SmackDown, and I think the second SmackDown as well. That was the view that you had in match, was that you were looking up the ramp at the stage as well. So from a retro perspective, I agree with you. I think it's going to hit well with retro gaming fans like yourself in regards to the graphics and whatnot. But they don't have to be perfect. There's been so many games that come out where they don't have perfect graphics, but as long as they play well and they have some sort of depth, then people are going to be okay with that. Um, which brings me to my next is the playability. Like, what are all the different modes like? Is there longevity in there? You know, because I hear there's a few modes. There's like a career mode. You've got your create modes and stuff like that, but there's a lot of like arcadey sort of modes in there where you can earn points and stuff to unlock things. Is that right?
Okay, so there's a few different points to touch on there. First of all, you've got your standard exhibition matches.
Yep.
So you've got like in a one-on-one match, you can have like a lights out match, or you can have like just a normal everyday match or a falls count anywhere.
Yep.
Then you've got your 2-2s, your 3-3s, exactly as you'd expect. But then you've got like the exploding barbed wire death match, and you've got the ladder match. And
Yeah.
the exploding death match is a lot of fun.
It looks
But
like it's a
you
lot of
know,
fun.
you're wrestling, you've got a countdown, you try to throw them into the barbed wire to set it all off. Like it is fun. But once the whole ring's gone off and that time has run out, like it does lose some of its suspense. Like I definitely think you should try and beat it before the whole ring goes up.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that it's great in that time frame when you're counting down to that big match end that's
Yeah.
supposed to be the big match ending explosion. But after that, you're just fighting in a ring that's got the barbed wire and wires and all that around. There's not much else after that. You
Well, there's
just
a couple of barbed wire boards set up in the corner for you to
yeah,
play with, but obviously, like once the like you can re-explode people. Like once the ring's gone up, you can throw them in the ropes and blow it up, but it just sort of loses its impact once you've seen the big
yeah,
explosion, and you can unlock it so that you get the gimmick explosion that went wrong when they actually did one of these as well, where it just sparkles in the
yeah.
corners. You can unlock that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you can make it do that instead.
Uh, I suppose that's fun in a way, like as a bit of a gag.
It's
But yeah,
hilarious.
it would be. It would definitely be funny. That's for sure.
So
Um,
from here, I think
hmm,
I'll touch on the mini games point next. Now the mini games are all right. You've got like Penta Says, which is like a Simon Says dance move. Reminds me a bit Guitar Hero.
yep,
You've got like a coin collection. game where you're just running around the ring collecting coins and bombs drop and sometimes they go off. Of course, if a bomb goes off, you're on the floor for a few seconds. People are still collecting coins
Mm-hmm.
with your usual speed up and slow down boosts.
Yep.
There's a quiz, which I did like, but the questions are really easy. All these mini games, by the way, it's generally like 3 and done. Like you have 3
Yeah.
rounds, it's done. There is a cool one where you're on a skateboard, like Darby Allin going round on a skateboard. Again, that's like a collectathon type thing. But
Mm-hmm.
you can do tricks and like hit your opponents in the head and knock them to the ground. And
Yep.
basically, the longer you're skating on the skateboard, the better.
Okay.
Uh, there are a few others, but I haven't really unlocked them all yet
Yeah.
because for some reason you have to unlock them and then buy them in the store. So you unlock them in the career mode and then buy them in the store.
With the money
I
that you
haven't
make from the
got
other.
round to playing every single one,
Yeah.
but that's just a bit of an overview of the kind of things I've played so far.
Mm-hmm.
And then the career mode. So you've got a branching career mode, okay? If you win, you tend to go into one path. If you lose, you tend to go into another path.
Yep.
If you start as a male wrestler, you go into a casino battle royal, which you either win or lose, and then the path you're on changes. And then you either win the title or you don't, and then the path changes again. Basically, there's 4 pay-per-views with 3 storylines per one.
Yep.
And this is how you unlock Brody Lee. This is
Yeah.
how you unlock the Big Show Paul White. Oh, I should probably mention as well, if you play 100 exhibition matches, you will unlock Owen Hart.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
good.
should have probably thrown that in back there, but
Yeah.
yeah. While we're talking about unlockables, I'll throw that out there. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then you unlock them and you buy them in the store. I've unlocked everything that I can currently buy, but there's still like the Brody Lee storyline I've not managed to trigger yet somehow. I just seem to be triggering the same one.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite like I either end up like winning the AEW title and going into one storyline or losing the AEW title and going into another. I can't figure out how to get into this third Brody Lee storyline. So I might
Yeah.
have to look at some guides online.
Yeah. You
But yeah,
might
the
have
game
to.
is not long. That is it. That is the whole game. There's nothing I've missed out really. The whole game is probably maybe 12, 15 hours of really enjoying a really good wrestling game and then waiting for DLC or something. I hope they build on this game because in its current format, it's not worth the £60 I paid. I don't
Yeah.
know what that is in US. That's in GDP for everybody
Yeah.
watching at home.
It's going for about like brand new about 90 over here in Australian, but we've
Yeah.
got a whole heap of like end of financial year sales and stuff like that going at the moment. So it's probably going for about between 70 to about 80, 85 maybe.
I live in hope as time goes on, they release more things and build on this game more.
Yeah.
Uh, but right now, the game feels small.
Yeah.
And it by today's standards, 12, 14 hours for that kind of money, it's not enough. There needs to be
Oh,
more done, more brought out, more added on, more wrestlers, more everything.
yeah, because we don't even have like that. From one thing I've heard is the tag team roster is very thin. We don't even have like FTR, the acclaimed. I think maybe the guns too. Like there's quite a
So
few.
I have FTR, but I think it was part of the Elite collection I bought.
Yeah.
I do have FTR and the Hardy Boys and a few others that people are saying aren't in it.
Hmm. But
I've even got CM Punk.
yeah, which I was doubtful he would actually be in the game, but I have seen that he is. I've heard that yeah, the roster can feel a bit thin and whatnot, even though it's got a decent sized roster from what I've seen. It's about 50. Is it about 50
Something
all
like
up?
that.
Yeah,
56 wrestlers.
but
Once you've unlocked,
I've got a feeling that they might not release this game annually like WWE does, and that might give them a bigger window for proposed DLC, to flesh, get more roster members in, get newer roster members in. Like I don't even think there's any Ring of Honor stuff in it, obviously, because the game creation started before.
well,
But
for a game called Fight Forever, it should play
yeah,
for like about 14 to 16 hours, 12, 14, that kind of region. There are challenges. The challenges will keep you coming back if it's something you're interested in, where it's like win an exhibition match with this wrestler or win
Yeah.
so many games on hard. It's usually 3 or 5.
Yeah.
There are challenges. They do keep you coming back. There's daily, weekly, and like forever. And the forever ones are like win 50 matches with, and then insert wrestler here all the way
Yeah.
down. And you can win some serious AEW cash to unlock things with by doing these challenges. But there's not enough to unlock. I mean, I've played the career mode through 2, 3 times at least. I've played a lot of the daily challenges. I've unlocked everything pretty much that I can. It's
Yeah.
just this odd little trigger in this storyline so that I can get Big Show and Brody Lee, really.
Yeah. Oh well, I do like the sounds of the branching storyline career mode, because the one thing that felt very limiting in WWE's 2K series with storyline and career mode, and that is it seems to go in one path and there isn't really any deviation. Like I remember if I lost a match, I had to go back and play it again to win it to progress. Whereas this sounds like if you lose a match, it branches in another direction and gives you
Yes.
something else than what you were going for, which is how the 2K games used to be back when it was SmackDown
And
versus Raw.
wins and losses, they count. I did the career mode of CM Punk. So anytime Punk comes out now, it says like 26 wins next to his name.
Oh, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's constantly keeping track of your wins and losses and who's won and who's lost. So when I'm playing an exhibition match, let's say, for example, I had to do as a challenge, win a match with John Moxley. I'll pick John Moxley, but then I'll hit random on the joystick and just play a random wrestler because I don't want to mess up the wins and losses too much by just picking on the same person.
you don't want the same 5 or 6 people that got big wins and losses, and the rest are just
Yeah. It'd be
yeah.
nice to beat John Silver every match because it's easy, but you mess his win loss record up.
Do you find with like playing like a match, say like before you said playing against Silver's easy, like if you went Punk versus Moxley, it's a harder match to win, doesn't like depending on what your difficulty level is, like just because those two guys are on different
The
levels in the
difficulty level,
roster.
I haven't noticed a particular difficulty level.
Yeah.
Like even on Elite, which is the hardest setting, this game is not overly difficult.
Okay.
Like the match, you can have a match on easy in a minute and a half. You can have a match on medium in about 3 minutes. You could have a match on hard about 4 or 5 minutes. A match on elite will be long,
Yeah.
10 minutes maybe at the absolute maximum.
Yeah.
But once you've got people beaten up and you've done a couple of finishes, it's over. Like it is just over. One of the little cheat codes that I've noticed as well is you seem to be able to, once your signature comes up, you seem to be able to do that multiple times to kill a person's health before you tap the
Yeah.
top to turn it to finisher. Once you do a finisher, it goes, your bar starts again. But signature stays up there the whole time. Couple of moves, signature, couple of moves, signature. And you can repeat that and just absolutely annihilate opponents.
I've seen that again when going through a video about the creation suite, that the moves each wrestler gets like I think it's 4 or 5 special like signatures and finishes. Like
Yeah,
yeah, so that sounds about
you can
right with what
unlock
I've
up to
seen,
5 finisher slots on a created wrestler,
which is insane.
but you have to play with them on career mode and buy the
Yeah.
unlocks and then buy
Yeah.
the power ups.
Yeah, it sounds really yeah. But like yeah, from what I've seen of the creation suite, I'm not impressed. I understand it's a new game. It's their first game, and I'm hoping that we get DLC to expand on that. Because at the moment you've got create a wrestler, is it create an entrance and create an arena,
Create an
I think.
arena.
Yeah, the arena looks really limited. Got
See,
some
there's a
interesting.
lifetime challenge. There's a lifetime challenge for creating 100 wrestlers. And I don't know how you could create 100 different wrestlers different enough with the creation suite we've got right now.
Yeah, it's very. There's not even logos that I've seen like you can place on like a top or anything like that outside of unlocking like actual AEW t-shirts for other wrestlers and whatnot. and that it looks very bare bones. Like I think even SmackDown 1 had more in the range of creator wrestler. Like a lot of it was actual wrestler content of who was in the game. But I also remember with the first SmackDown, you could unlock parts for people who technically weren't in the game, but they were in the next game. They were WWE wrestlers. They just didn't make the cut. And random creative parts. I really do hope if they're going to be the alternative, they really need to not release this yearly. They need to just add DLC, maybe bi-yearly. They bring out a new one, and they just patch in DLC for newer wrestlers. I'd like to see
Yeah.
them
On,
patching
on,
stuff for Ring of Honor.
honestly, 10 years down the line, if they build on this game will be definitely worth it. And the money for the season pass that we got in the Elite Edition as well. But right now, this game is short, not very long. There's not enough to do to keep you interested for a long time. What it does well. But we just want more of it. The
Yeah,
problem with this game is it leaves you wanting more. I want more of this.
yeah,
This game is so good. I want more, but it can't give me more because it's very short.
yeah. And that's a lot of what I'm hearing at the moment.
I just want them to do more of exactly what they've done, but just more of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting in everything. But yeah, like I really do hope that there's more that comes out in time, and that it's not too far apart. I suppose can say. Um,
Well, look at WWE 2K23. They release their game, and then every month they bring out a new DLC. And the people who bought the season pass on that game, like myself,
mm,
knew what was coming out for about 4 months.
yeah,
We were
but
told this is month one, this is month two, this is month three, this is month four. Yeah, we're waiting on the month four one to drop, the last one that's supposed to have Bray Wyatt in it. That's the last one that we were
yeah,
promised. And after that, we'll probably have to buy another season pass. But we've been shown this is the game. Here's what we're bringing out at later. They need to do this. They need to say like AEW Fight Forever. It, you will not fight forever on this game. You'll fight for like 2 days, and then just go back to WWE 2K23 where there's still loads more to do.
yeah, yeah. Well, from what I've heard here today, in my opinion, it's not something that I'm going to rush out and buy straight away. I think it's something that I'm going to wait and see.
I would wait and see.
Yeah,
Wait
give
for it
it.
to either
Yeah,
come down in price or for them to add stuff to it to justify the price. Because right
exactly.
now we're here. It's an expensive game with not much on it.
Yeah,
But that's right now. They add more to it or they bring the price down and it'll be worth it.
exactly. I think it's either the price comes down and it'll be one of those games. Everyone's got one of those games that they didn't buy when it was brand new, whether you didn't have the money or you weren't that hyped about it, but you pick it up later on. It's like, okay, this is not a bad little game. It's on sale. I'll buy it now. Yeah, I had some fun with it. Or they'll keep releasing DLC and it will just build on what they've got. And in a year's time, you could have a completely different game and a completely different gaming experience.
We've seen games come out and feel unfinished, only for later them to add DLC and extra content and then become some of the best games around. This
Yeah,
is not a new story. It's happened before, and it could very well happen here.
definitely. Like this could be wrestling's version of No Man's Sky.
It just depends what they do from
Yeah,
here. If they start telling
definitely.
us, yo, that was like phase one, this is all the stuff we're going to be bringing out over the coming months, everybody's going to lose their mind because we just want more of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Kev's decision is he's not going to buy it now, but he's going to wait and see what happens in the next few months, whether it comes down in price or more DLCs added. Either one of those, I'm going to check it out, I think, because at the end of the day, I still love wrestling games. And while the WWE SmackDown versus Raw and the 2K series have been the most popular ones coming out for God knows how long, 20 something years, that there were games that still came out in around those times, wrestling themed, that I still played and got a little bit of enjoyment out of, like Def Jam Vendetta and Legends of Wrestling. They weren't games I invested a lot of time in or really bought. I mainly hired them and had to go and still had an okay gaming experience. And I think
I'm sorry, I'm
maybe,
just going to throw this out there. If
yeah,
you've never played Def Jam Vendetta Fight for New York, go and find it somewhere.
yeah, it's a good game. It's completely not what I thought it was going to be at all, but it's definitely a good game. But yeah, I think I'm going to wait on this one and see what happens. But if we're coming into we haven't not coming into it. It's been around for a while. There's a lot of independent, like other wrestling games that are being worked on, like is it the Wrestler's Code, and a couple of others that are getting guys that aren't full-time WWE roster members or independents and trying to make a game of that. If that come out and that's a successful game straight off the bat, which is there's a possibility it could hurt something like Fight Forever. So I'm really hoping that in the next couple of months, something's announced as okay, here's some more DLC, here's another, and some more to put on the top to make it worthwhile. Because yeah, it sounds like at the moment it's a game that I could probably finish on my leave from work, which doesn't end until like next week. So and yeah, I want a bit of longevity at the moment. Maybe I'm just too used to 2K games. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's my opinion at the moment. I'm going to wait and see. And
Smart
thank you.
decision.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go. Thank you very much, Peanut, for your extensive review and whatnot. Let's hope that they build upon this and we can do another video later on about that.
Absolutely. Speaking of videos
Definitely.
later on, I can't wait for October. We have to do a Metal Gear Solid video.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. I'm really excited about all of that. Like I've been itching to play some Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid
Currently,
apart
the only way
from
I can do it
five.
is on my American account. I had to create my PS3 to make Metal Gear Solid 1 work. That's how I have to play this at the moment. So I'm very excited to be playing it properly.
Yeah, I will be too. It's been a long time. All right.
But everybody out
Um,
there, don't forget to like and share the video, give it a share.
definitely
It
like and
really does help the
share.
channel out.
Yep, definitely. And we'll see you next time. Check you later, heavies.